Thank you for joining us. This is the For We Are Many podcast. My name is Rob, and I will be your host and comrade today. Joining me are these two people to my left, or maybe right. I don't know anymore.
Hello, Trisha, your hostess with the mostest rants.
Hi, this is Scott Williams, the guy they dragged along for this.
Kicking and screaming the entire way. This was coercion, not consent.
Oh my God. Wait.
Tonight being Mario.
I found a Mario soundboard and I never should have. I never should have opened it. It's like I'm 12 again.
Right. But hey, it's definitely fun. We can make use of it. This will appeal to our niche market. We all grew up on Mario.
That's everybody after the 80s, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we do have some things to talk about. A few things pertaining to the Patrick Loyoya. Oh my God, I today cannot pronounce that name apparently. Anyway,
I'm not even going to try.
Huh?
We're going to be talking about Starbucks and Amazon unionization. We're going to talk about Trump. We're going to talk shit about Trump. We're going to talk shit about Biden.
We're going to talk shit about Elon.
Oh my God, that dumbass.
Yeah, we'll probably talk some shit about Zelensky too. Why not?
I know that I want to talk about Russia cutting off the gas to Poland because, like, Poland and Bulgaria. Poland and Bulgaria are calling it blackmail, but like, they literally told them like a month ago, if you don't pay in rubles, you're not getting any gas. And then they didn't pay in rubles, and now they're like shocked that they're not getting any gas. And I'm like, what?
They told you they're accepting payment in rubles, or I believe gold was the other option.
Yeah, but they tried to pay in euros.
Yeah, and that is not
like euros the currency,
gold.
not euros the food.
Right.
Just to clarify.
Stop.
See, now someone's going to hit the Mario sound on you.
I just say I don't have control over the soundboard, but man, don't I wish I did. Excellent. By the way, there's no red in my background, but my face will make up for that.
Yes.
So don't worry.
Balance. It's balance. Yes. You've got the contrast right.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, goodness.
So,
man.
I also really like it when people are get really upset about when you stop sending them things you need when you're providing their enemies with weapons. That's neat.
Right. Right. It really is.
This is blackmail. Well, I don't know.
This is blackmail.
It's like, well, I mean, are you sure it's not karma?
Yeah.
Wait, I thought we were starting with Trump. What's happening right now?
Hey, shit happens.
My favorite topic, Donald Trump.
Scott's all like, yeah, we should start with domestic policy, and now we're like, Orange Man bad.
Indeed,
Wow.
Orange Man very bad.
But then it'll be senile white man bad after that.
Well, I mean, that does technically apply in both cases. Only one of them gets himself spray painted orange.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. All right. So a judge is holding former President Trump in civil contempt for failing to comply with document subpoenas from the New York Attorney General. Surprise. But, okay, so, like, obviously he didn't comply with the subpoena for documents. Of course he didn't. He never does. But he's going to be fined $10,000 a day until he does.
Which he won't pay.
Well, right. Right. But at least they're, like, putting a dollar amount to it, right? Like, I mean, I feel like all the courts going after Trump have been so spineless. Whether it's pertaining to his business practices or January 6th doesn't really matter to me. Either way, they have had no balls going after him.
Yeah. Truth.
No, I mean, they never have.
Right. Trump's attorney says, we respectfully disagree with the court's decision today. All documents, as explained, responsive to the subpoena, were already produced to the Attorney General months ago. But a person with the Attorney General's office said Trump failed to produce even a single responsive document for the subpoena issued to him in December. He said, quote, we are being hampered in our best efforts to have a complete understanding because we don't have evidence from the person who sits at the top of the organization. Obviously, this investigation is into Trump's company. It's not one of the January 6th things. Kevin Wallace with the Attorney General's office said in some instances, it's been like pulling teeth to get documents. Surprise. Like I said, he's been doing this. He's been doing the same shit with the January 6th trials, and nobody's even tried to hold him accountable for it.
I like that he respectfully disagreed with the court. I wish I could do that.
Dude,
No. Respectfully disagree, officer. I will not be paying my fines.
Right, and get away with it. Like,
right.
how does he get to get a get out of jail free card? You know, like what the fuck?
Two sets of rules. Two sets of rules.
He always plays of like, oh, I know you subpoenaed that, but fuck you. I just don't feel like giving you the files you're asking for. Like, repeatedly with everything. How is he not in jail?
It's wild. It's wild to me that somebody can thumb their nose at the court for so long, have complete disregard for any. We were talking about this about the numerous police shootings. If the law doesn't apply to everyone, there is no law. Well, that's true here, just as it is with those police officers. The law doesn't apply to this man. It doesn't exist. There is no law.
Right.
We're a country built on laws. And if this is the case, if this keeps eroding and people keep getting away with this kind of thing, and the damages, the punitive part of this isn't punishment enough, then there's no reason to have any kind of rule of law.
Right. If they're not applying equally, then what the fuck?
Right.
So Alina Habba is Trump's attorney, argued that the Attorney General's investigation has, quote, seemingly become aimless, saying that since it began 3 years ago, the Trump organization has been given 6 separate subpoenas, produced more than 6 million pages of documents, and 13 Trump organization witnesses have been deposed, among other things. I have to wonder, though, out of these 6 million pages of documents, how many of them are blank?
Right. Or just have so much of the pages blacked out with a Sharpie so you can't read the text.
You remember when he like took a fucking hurricane map and like changed the path with a Sharpie?
Oh, fuck. That's not how weather works, Don.
See him in court, like just crossing out any document that says guilty.
Right. We're just going to ignore this because I don't agree with it.
I respectfully disagree.
I respectfully disagree. Sir, this is just a document that you put not before guilty on. Just wrote this in Sharpie.
Right.
It's like a Family Guy sketch. It's that bad.
It really is.
No, a Family Guy sketch would probably at least be a little bit funnier.
Yeah, right. Instead of tragic. Although, well, really, I don't know.
Oh, man.
God.
So the New York Attorney General, Letitia James's office, has been investigating the Trump Organization for more than 2 years, not more than 3, as Trump's attorney said, and previously said her office found multiple misleading or fraudulent misstatements and omissions in the Trump Organization's financial statements, which were provided to lenders and insurers, among others, as part of its investigation. So, like, weird. Fraud guy is, like, putting misleading or fraudulent paperwork in. Who would have ever seen that coming?
Cue the fry.
Shocked. I'm clutching my pearls.
Cue the fry gif. Shocked. Well, not that shocked.
Right.
So if you go into the chat deal in here, I sent the link to the Biden article, right? Which I'm not going to read this whole article. In short, just like that this is just a chance to track Biden from the left, I guess. I guess I feel the need to make the obligatory "the Democrats are not the left" statement.
Yep.
And if you need further proof for that, this headline should settle that for you. Biden asked Congress this morning for $33 billion additional dollars to support Ukraine through September. $33 billion. This is not the first run of money for Ukraine, and that's only till September.
Right. That.
Excuse me, it's a lot later here than it is for you guys. The thing that shocks me about, and you know that I disagree with you about Putin war, or I know that we agree about Putin, but I am in utter disgust and disdain for the man. And I see the value in supporting any opposition to him. I do. And I'll get that out there, but I really think $33 billion. That's money better spent on, like buying Twitter.
Damn.
That's 11 billion shy of buying Twitter, just for the record.
It is.
When you get up to that, isn't it all just peanuts?
I mean, yeah.
And things like he's claiming that it's for humanitarian and military aid, and it's like, yeah, probably a little tiny smidge of humanitarian and a fuckload of military aid.
I mean, that's what we're seeing so far, to be honest. Not that there isn't humanitarian aid, but the Red Cross is on the ground, and there's other groups that are on the ground. But most of our tax dollars that have gone into it have been in military aid. I mean, we just sent like fucking 90 howitzers over there. We've sent anti-tank weapons, anti-air weapons. We've sent drones. We've sent missiles, and obviously we've sent guns.
Right.
Yeah.
And now we need another $33 billion to send more howitzers, more drones, more rifles, more ammo.
I scrolled a little further, and right off the bat, $20.4 billion of it is specifically for security and military assistance, and there's additional money to fund U.S. efforts to bolster European security in cooperation with NATO allies. So that's vague as fuck. I'd love to know how much those additional funds are and what exactly that spending with NATO allies is.
It's all of it. I bet you it's all of it. Because you just said 2/3 of the money that they're giving is automatically going to weapons, right?
Yep.
Is what you just said. So then on top of that, there's some discretionary spending, right, on for whatever. So what's that say to you? This is that already 2/3 of it are gone. The rest of it's going. They might have $100 million to go into humanitarian aid, but I doubt that's even true.
Same.
Right. They listed here that this is intended to equip Kiev and European partners with additional artillery, armored vehicles, anti-armor and anti-air capabilities. I can't even talk. Accelerate capabilities. Accelerate cyber capabilities. And advanced
We need
air
some of that.
defense systems. And to help clear landmines and improvised explosive devices. So, yeah, it's all arming them to the fucking hilt even more than we already have.
Yeah.
Fuck.
The total will help fund Ukraine's government, support food, energy, and healthcare services. Where? The $8.5 billion to help support the Ukrainian economy. That's what will fund food, energy, healthcare, and Ukraine's government.
So,
and this is kind of concerning as well, and counter Russian disinformation and propaganda narratives. Now, I understand that at the end of the day, you and I probably view the Ukraine situation a little differently. I mean, I think all of us have a slightly different stance on it, honestly. But I can see the value in backing someone that is defending their country, right? Which I'm not saying that Ukraine isn't. Okay, they have been invaded by Russia. However, what I do have a problem with is that we're spending billions of dollars arming Nazis.
Yeah, that. And the fact of the matter is we funded putting those Nazis in place in that coup, which is where our government went wrong with this 8 years ago in the first fucking place.
Well, I mean, it's been deeper than that. The Nazi ideology has been prevalent there since World War II.
Yeah, it never went away.
And I'm not trying to say that like every Ukrainian is a Nazi or anything crazy like that.
No, but a lot of their government are. There are multiple neo-Nazi fucking political parties that have locked arms with each other, and they've got huge influence.
They banned every left-wing party, 11 of them to be specific.
Yep.
Yeah, and we've had this discussion a few times before, where they're using, they're blatantly using Nazi symbols, and they're banging the drum of the Nazi rhetoric in a lot of what they're doing. So even if it's a minority, okay, even if that is the minority in the country, the discussion we had previously, in which I argued that it was the minority in the Ukraine, the feedback that you gave, which I received well, I think, was even if it is the minority, they're allowing this group to have political power. They're allowing this group to thrive. They're arming this group, and they're allowing them to play a big part in their political process. So if that's the case, no, not every Ukrainian is a Nazi, and I would argue that the majority of them are probably not Nazis. But the fact that they're allowing that group to thrive really speaks ill of them. And it shows to me that we're just trading one bad guy for another.
Right.
And a big part of that problem with the people there who are not Nazis, they've been silenced because they've figured out during Maidan that those who speak out against this Nazi coup get fucking killed.
That's pretty par for the course for Nazis.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, that's a big part of how this war even started to begin with. And again, I'm not trying to like make excuses for Russia. I don't think that a land invasion on a largely innocent population is necessarily the way to take care of it. However, Ukraine has been attacking the Donbass region for 8 years. There's documentaries about it. Even our own media, like on February 1st, was talking about Ukraine's right-wing problem. And then all of a sudden, February 24th, they're like, "Oh, Slava Ukraine!"
Right.
Like,
Oh, no, you don't hear it.
Right. Immediately changing their tune, like instead of calling out Nazis, they're like, "Wait, it's a long story, bro." And it's like, no, we're not playing that shit. A Nazi's a Nazi, and when they're flying Nazi shit and got Nazi badges on their shoulders, guess what? They're fucking Nazis.
right?
Yeah,
Like, but it's okay to support them when they're genociding, ethnic Russians along with the ethnic Jews and ethnic Romani that they've been killing for the last fucking 8 years in the Donbas region. And they're still slaughtering them as they try to escape.
Yeah.
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 The NPR article that I read at the start, on the onset of all this, is that they were like, "Oh, the Ukrainian Nazi problem, is it real, or is there more to it?" And anytime you have to say, "Is there more to it?" Should we really be? Listen, the minute I put a swastika on my arm, the conversation about, "Oh, well, maybe he's got a little more to what he's saying here. Maybe he's got a softer approach than Hitler," that's just crap.
Right.
It's just
Yeah, their softer approach being, we'll just, shoot you in the head. It's quicker than the gas. Like,
I mean, to be fair, the Soviets may, use the wall a time or two.
yeah, but,
But that's to shoot the Nazis, not to shoot the Jews.
Right.
Listen, Tanky.
I'm sorry. Oh man. Okay, so I guess next we'll move into the Patrick Loyoya. Why can I not say that today, dude?
I'm so glad I don't have to, because I screw it up every time. So
I mean, apparently me too now. I said it just fine last week, and now it's like really pissing me off.
Poor guy does not deserve this abuse beyond what he's endured.
So basically, the article was there was an article, I should say, that was talking about Patrick's criminal record in Kent County and Wyoming, apparently. And Ben Johnson, one of the attorneys representing the family, addressed the criminal record. There was an active warrant for a second offense domestic violence charge. And as signed on April 1st in the city of Wyoming, just 3 days before he was shot and killed by Officer Christopher Schur, who was identified Monday, which is probably because he had already been doxxed. Well, maybe not doxxed, but...
Well, yeah, not fully, because they didn't kick out like his address and shit. But he'd been identified already. Somebody put the sleuthing skills to work and found his graduation picture from the police academy.
Probably one of the kids he bullied in high school.
Interesting.
Yeah, right. Some are questioning whether or not the warrant was the reason why Patrick tried to run, to which Attorney Johnson replied it could or could not have been, but nobody knows for sure, and nobody will know because Patrick is not here to answer that. And then Johnson went on to say, quote, "It doesn't matter why he tried to run because the office can't use deadly force simply because he wasn't complying. Straight up. They're not the judge. They're not the jury. They're not the executioner. As far as I'm concerned, they shouldn't even be carrying firearms."
Nope. Especially, I mean, think about it. Does Michigan even have the death penalty anymore? I don't think so.
Right.
Well, they do, yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, it's in the hands of every police officer that's out there, apparently.
Well, but
Michigan was the first state to abolish the death penalty, though.
You can't, be found guilty in a court of law and sentenced to death by the court. So why are pigs allowed to fucking sentence you to death of their own volition?
That's the question, right? I mean, and again, it goes back to the whole situation we were talking about with Trump. What are we doing here?
Right.
What law are we talking about? The law does not apply to this officer. It sure did to that poor kid. You know.
Okay,
Right.
so you want to know when Michigan banned capital punishment?
Yeah.
May 18th, 1846. Michigan
Oh,
had
yeah.
been a state less than 10 years before banning capital punishment.
Wow. Wow.
Yep.
And think about how progressive they are, or were at that time, compared to what we're looking at now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we got fucking armed death squads living off the public tax coffer to go around fucking killing innocent people.
You know, I don't think it's talked about enough in this country that the modern day police force started as slave catchers.
Yep. That.
We don't talk about
A lot of people are completely fucking unaware of that.
it. I think it's a shame.
Well,
You know,
there's a long history of the cops doing union busting for companies too,
Of course.
or
Big
private security firms for that matter. Looking at you, Pinkerton.
Yep.
Trying to
Gross.
fuck with Amazon now, huh?
Yeah.
Didn't they murder a bunch of people in with Coca-Cola down in South America recently too?
Yeah, the Colombian cocaine death squads. That sounds like a killer band name, right?
Yeah, right.
Killer
I just-
cocaine squad, or whatever the fuck I just said.
Is there anything more metal than the Pinkertons?
It made me think of Pinkos, and I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah, I was all right with that.
We have a really old piece on the Battle of the Overpass, which was a unionization drive that was not taking place on Ford Motor Company's property, but on the pedestrian overpass that goes to Ford's property from the parking area, right? And Pinkerton security literally like swooped up in this fucking overpass and started beating the hell out of people.
Jesus.
The fuck?
So gross. So
Yeah.
gross.
So if you want to go to our YouTube and search the Battle of the Overpass, you'll find about a 35-minute piece, if I remember correctly, giving a brief overview of the story and what went down.
Indeed.
Anywho's it, what does that bring us to next?
Well, we weren't quite done with.
Oh, yeah, we weren't. I see that now, sorry.
Situation. Officer Schur is on administrative leave, so we're giving him a fucking paid vacation now. He's been stripped of his police powers until the conclusion of the Michigan State Police investigation into potential criminal charges. I don't know what the fuck's taking him so long. It's pretty clear in the video that it's a fucking execution. So, file the fucking charges already, MSP. Once their investigation is complete, their findings will be given to the Kent County Prosecutor's Office for the next steps.
So I think you just gave me a good, into the next thing. Why has nothing happened yet? The next headline is Police Union backs officer in Patrick Loyola killing. The police unions should not exist. I mean, as much as we talk about unionization, that is not a labor union. That is a political entity which gives the fascists that kill us in the streets, Okay, whenever we talk about the thin blue line, or like the blue wall of silence or whatever, that's all because of police unions.
Right. That thin blue line literally is based in that thin line of cops protecting the other cops behind them from the public for holding them accountable for, criminal activity. That's literally what that means, is they're going to stand between the public getting justice and their fucking brotherhood.
Well, thin blue line isn't so thin anymore. That's the problem.
Nope. That's a huge
It's
problem.
Well, no, you got conservatives all over the country fucking deep throating the boot.
Yep.
right.
Or like, there's a meme that I really like. Okay, it's a sheriff, right? And he's got his bulletproof vest on and it says sheriff. And he's holding up a coffee cup like he's proud of it. And it says, "Don't tread on me." It's got the Gadsden flag on it, right? And somebody like superimposed over it, "Bro, you're the foot."
Right.
I mean, for me, I'm super pro-union, and I think it'd be very difficult to find somebody who's more pro-union than me. But I would say, and in this case, I do think a union is important for anybody who is a worker. These guys need a union, but the problem with their union is that it has lost its purpose. It's no longer protecting the workers' rights. They're protecting their ability to commit crimes. And that's not the purpose of a union. It's just not.
If I can interject, and I mean, I don't mean to sound reformist or anything, right? But what I think should happen is emergency services should have a collective union, right? Social workers, okay,
Oh, yeah, agreed.
fire department, EMS, and the police, not just the pigs being like, "No, dude, I got your back, bro."
Well, I'm sorry, you were going to say something.
I was just going to beg the question, do they really qualify as workers?
I mean, I see them as a state-funded paramilitary force more than anything, but
Who are they really working for?
I'm clearly of two minds because, personally, I see the damage that they're doing, right? But also, I can't. I think it's because we have emphasized the wrong things with our police force. Instead of serving the community, they're looking to punish criminals, right? So that's not their purpose, and it shouldn't be. And if we really redetermined their values, so when we talk about defunding the police, it's not just about taking away money and getting rid of the police force. It's about really redistributing those funds to make them make sense, right? To give police officers the right training so that they can serve the community instead of policing them. The name is the problem. We've got to figure a different way to look at our police force. They need to serve the community as opposed to themselves, as opposed to punishing criminals. That's not their purpose. It shouldn't be their purpose. If it is their purpose, they shouldn't exist.
Right. That. It'd be one thing to have emergency services like, okay, if you have an accident or get injured, you can call 911 and get an ambulance to take you to the fucking hospital. If you're having a mental health care issue and somebody is like, "Holy fuck, 911, I need some help. This person is fruiting their loops." Okay, send out a fucking healthcare professional, not somebody with a fucking gun. Your gun isn't going to solve the problems that person is having. Somebody who's got some empathy, compassion, and understanding of psychology can help, though.
That's exactly right. You take guys who their whole mentality and what they've been taught their entire career is that they need to look at everybody as a potential criminal, right? Everybody's a criminal until you've acted otherwise, right? You got to prove to them that you're not a criminal. And then you're asking them to go and respond to these domestic disputes, to these mental health crises. I don't know anybody who needs a union more than these guys. The problem is that the union's working in the wrong way. Instead of getting them the training they need to perform their duties properly, they're protecting their ability to shoot people. That's fucked. Or their ability to steal people's personal private property.
Which,
That's-
by the way, since we're talking about Michigan, Michigan is a civil asset forfeiture state.
Yeah,
They'll take your shit.
just take it. And
And
that's
they've taken
and
more
they're
people's
protecting
shit
the
in
right
the
to do
last
that.
few years. Sorry, I just want to interject one thought. They have taken more people's shit in the last few years than actual robberies.
Yeah.
There you go. That's a fact I didn't know. That's fantastic. And that just goes to prove
That's
the point.
fantastic.
Yeah. Wow. What a hoot.
Anyway,
You
so
interrupt your train of thought there, man. I just
No, that's a good point. Absolutely.
So back to like the facts in this case. The Grand Rapids Police Officer Association called the death tragic, but said, quote, an officer has the legal right to protect themselves and community in a volatile, dangerous situation such as this in order to return to his or her family at the end of their shift. Time out. He had a fucking traffic thing, right?
right.
And then
That
he was
officer's
chased
life-
down, tackled, subdued, and then shot in the back of the head.
Right.
If you
That
have to
cop didn't have anything
somebody-
he needed to protect himself from.
right.
The community
Exactly.
needed protected from him at that fucking moment.
If you have to chase somebody down and shoot them in the back of the head to protect yourself, that's not protecting yourself.
Nope. Not at all.
That's a horrible excuse. And that does not carry weight in this at all. Any thinking person would know better than that.
Right.
I also want to take the moment to say there's been almost daily protests in Grand Rapids since the video came out. And I want to say that it doesn't seem, from what I've seen on the internet anyway, to be the same group of liberals showing up with the Black Lives Matter sign and then going back to brunch the next day. It seems like the more dedicated activists are the ones that are turning out. So sure, there's not tens of thousands of people like there was in 2020, but the people that are there seem to be a little more focused than they were in 2020. I don't
They're
know. I
dedicated
mean,
to the cause.
they're what?
They're dedicated to the cause. They have a directive.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So the family, oh yeah, I skipped a part. Grand Rapids residents were at the city commission meeting chanting, whose city, whose streets, our streets. Pretty straightforward, pretty recycled slogans there, but you know, everybody knows them already. Patrick's family wants Schur fired and charged. I don't think that that's an unreasonable request in any fucking way.
Me neither. To be fair, that's the least they could do is charge him with the crime of having fucking murdered, executed Patrick Lyoya. This is first degree. This isn't some manslaughter bullshit or anything like that. This is fucking straight up murder. You cap somebody in the back of the head while you're sitting on their back and their face down in the fucking grass. That's fucking murder. You had no other intention other than to commit murder when you already had this person physically subdued and you chose to draw your fucking gun and pop one in the back of his fucking head. Fuck you, Chris Schur.
Yeah.
Earlier Tuesday, Police Chief Eric Windstorm told a community forum that he wants to put more emphasis on officers knowing how to turn down the heat during tense situations. Quote, I guarantee that we can do more. Actually, that's one of the things I've already reached out to my colleagues to say. Hey, I need some curriculum because we are going to beef it up. This is the thing, okay? It doesn't come down, I think, to the training that they get. I think it has to do with the type of people that they recruit, largely, and the system itself being born of racism. I think that those are the bigger issues here, right?
And the power they presume to have in this position that is supposed to be serving the community, but it isn't at all because they're fucking lied to. Everybody's fucking lied to and told that cops are authorities. They're not fucking authorities. They're goddamn employees. Our fucking tax dollars pay for their entire fucking living. That is not a fucking authority. That is our employees.
It's the same tired argument every single time we go through this, right? It's always the same people saying the same thing. If only he just listened, if he just followed orders, and it's ironically from these people who
fly the Gadsden flag.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, in combination with like the Punisher thin blue line flag that in itself is a walking fucking conundrum because the Punisher hated dirty cops. But I digress. They want to combine that bootlicking flag with, the don't tread on me. They're confused.
I agree.
If Punisher existed in the real world, this cop would be dead already.
Thank you.
I mean, yeah, straight up. So this kind of ties in, right? We're talking about how this whole thing is systemic. Well, Mercado Media was reporting the 27th about the Minnesota Department of Human Rights found that the city of Minneapolis and the Minneapolis Police Department, surprise, have been engaging in a pattern or practice of race discrimination in violation of the Minnesota Human Rights Act.
Duh.
Exactly. Moving forward, and I want to know the kind of teeth that this is going to have. I want to know if it's going to be enforceable. But moving forward, the Minnesota Department of Human Rights will work with the city to develop a consent decree, which is a court enforceable agreement that identifies specific changes to be made and timelines for those changes to occur. And the Department of Human Rights will be meeting with community members, officers, city staff, and other stakeholders. Who the fuck are those other stakeholders? To gather feedback on what should be included in a consent decree to address racial discrimination in policing in Minneapolis. How about we start by
So this is
not
going to be court
sending...
back?
Huh?
This is going to be backed by the courts, you said?
That's what it says.
Yeah.
So can police officers respectfully disagree?
Probably. And be like, my union backs me on this. Puckers.
Right. Exactly. It's fucking wild.
I fucked up your rhythm. I'm sorry, man.
It's all good.
It's all good. I think other than the unionization stuff, which I probably want to save for towards the end, the only other U.S. thing that I have is Tesla shedding $100 billion plus in value in one day.
Glory be.
The Mario sound.
Oh yeah. Hold on. Oh, I closed it. No, hold on.
The moment's over. The moment's over.
Nope. It's loading. Oh, my volume was down. Take two. There we go. Yeah, the moment was over, but it's cool. I got it anyway.
Womp womp.
This brought Tesla's market capitalization down to $906 billion. Now, just to put that in perspective, if somehow you were able to be alive from the time that Chris Columbus set foot in the Americas, right, in 1492, if you were to make $200,000 every single day since 1492, you would still not have enough money to buy Twitter, right, which was $44 billion, let alone the $906 billion that Tesla's market capitalization is still at. It was over $1 trillion.
Right. It had a 12% drop.
Yeah.
And it's still more money than you can make in countless lifetimes.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If the $44 billion, if you were making $200,000 a day every day since 1492, and you didn't have $44 billion, then okay, let me put it another way, right? Like, let's say that somebody from 100 years ago came to the future, right? And they saw that a company had a market capitalization of $906 billion. Could they even really comprehend how much money that is? No, because nobody can.
Still
Have
can't.
you, right? Have you seen the movie A Blast from the Past?
No.
I think that's an
Sound familiar? Hiding in a
Brendan
bunker.
Fraser gets locked in a time capsule, whatever, like in a bunker, right? And he comes out of the bunker finally, and it's he's made his way through decades or whatever. He ends up having a whole bunch of money because he'd had stock in General Electric or something from when it first started, right? So, so just thinking of it that way, like if he walked up and still had shares of General Electric from when he was in the cave, he walks out and he goes, "Oh, I still can't buy Tesla stock."
Right? That really puts it in perspective.
Yeah,
But
like that movie is not timely anymore.
So this is where it gets fun, right? So Musk has pledged more than half of his Tesla shares as collateral for his $44 billion takeover of Twitter. In other words, if Tesla's value sinks, Musk could be required to sell his shares to meet his loan obligations, leading to a downward spiral in both his net worth and Tesla's worth, right? Because if he's selling out, if he owns as many shares as he does, and he's got to sell them off to make his loan obligations, right? It's going to be a downward spiral. And analysts are saying that that both Tesla and Musk's worth are going to be affected by two main factors. One, the amount Musk is committed to the Twitter purchase. And two, the fears he'll become distracted from his role as Tesla's chief executive. And analysts say the easy part for Musk was winning Twitter. The hard part is going to be fixing it and dealing with the ripple effects on the golden child Tesla. And just for a drop in the bucket of what this could turn into, Musk's net worth was $270 billion last week, and it was down to $240 billion by Tuesday.
I'm sure he's really feeling it.
Yeah.
God.
Dude, and I mean, I was honestly like skeptical on whether or not I even wanted to fucking talk about this today, right? Because like there are people coming out of the fucking woodwork. There are chuds, as Dean would call them, coming out of the woodwork to defend this fucking jackass. Oh, but he worked hard for his money. You know how many times I've read that today alone?
Right, and it's like, okay, you clearly don't know what the fuck you're talking about, people, because he didn't work hard for shit. Mommy and daddy were wealthy when he was born.
Exactly. He got seed capital from his apartheid era emerald mine owning parents. Right.
Right.
To start PayPal.
Reparations. He should be paying fucking reparations to South Africa before he worries about buying goddamn Twitter.
Oh, and that's the irony. Is somebody said something the other day to me. It was like, shouldn't you be happy that an African American is doing so well? And I'm like, all right.
Whoa.
Colonizer.
Whoa. Holy fuck.
Wow.
Yeah.
All the links they will fucking leap to. That's some mental gymnastics right there.
Can you imagine somebody saying that to you?
Just made me want to headbutt a butter knife.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And with all sincerity.
Wow.
I'm not sure if they were joking, but I can't really. These days, you don't know. You don't know.
I hope that was sarcasm of premium level.
God. Oh,
If
pretty stupid.
What the fuck?
All right, I guess we're into. I mean, do you have any more riffing on Musk? Actually, I do. Elon, buddy. We have this Patreon tier for you. It's only $100K a month. You won't even miss it.
Right, you make that.
You just lost $30 billion in a day. You're not going to care about 100,000.
Right.
We'll make better use of it than you. Actually, you could just send us like the whole $6 billion that you offered to like end world hunger with, right? And the UN gave you a budget, buddy, right? And then you ignored it.
We'll give you a special discount for the next 600 years if you pay us $100,000. So
Oh man.
There, now I'm done. Now I'm done riffing on Elon Musk.
You know he watches the show religiously, right?
I mean, one can only hope. Maybe he learned something. Dude, you remember the time that he tweeted that Marx was a capitalist and that he even wrote a book on it?
And it's like, are you confused? You're confused.
Marx is a capitalist.
Did
he even wrote a book on it?
Capital was
yes, that's what he was implying, is that capital was about Well, it was about capitalism, but it wasn't like, yeah, dude, I'm a capitalist.
It wasn't pro-capitalism. It reminds me of that meme of Marx just sitting there like, and it just says, I can tell you didn't read the book, bro.
It's like that conversation I had earlier where somebody was like saying something to the effect of that, there's no such thing as if socialists are so keen on worker-run companies, then why hasn't there been a successful one? I don't even know that it even requires Google. It just takes common sense.
I mean, I do a significant chunk of my grocery shopping at a worker-owned co-op that it's a mile down the road from my house.
Yeah, and it's pretty dope.
So do literally millions of other people.
Yeah.
If you've ever been to a Publix.
Yes.
Anyway, I digress.
So let's fly across the Pacific for a while, right? So we talked briefly about this in the intro, right? But so like a month ago, Russia told Europe that if they wanted to continue to get Russian gas, then they needed to pay for it in rubles or gold, not euros or dollars as they have been doing. And Poland and Bulgaria tried to pay in euros, as I understand it. And Russia turned off their gas flow, right? And then they're trying to call it blackmail.
Yeah.
Now it's payment declined.
Right.
Here's the free market at work.
Well, yeah, but they're saying that Russia breached their contract by changing their payment terms, but like, wouldn't Poland have been, or Bulgaria have been breaching their contract with the sanctions that were targeting Gazprom to begin with?
Yeah. They fucked around and they found out. If you don't want no shit, don't start no shit.
Right.
I guess Poland and Bulgaria shouldn't have started this shit.
Well, I can't go to McDonald's and pay them in yen. You know what I mean?
Right.
I can't just decide what the fuck I want to pay them with, right?
I've had a McDonald's like deny a Canadian quarter.
Right. So I can't. If tomorrow morning they decided they were all going to convert to the Deutschmark. I don't know. I don't have any say in what they decide they're going to take. It doesn't matter what, I just don't see the logic in that being blackmail. No, you can buy your gas from other countries. You chose to buy it from us. You pay me in what I asked you to pay me. That's it. Now, I don't know the nuances of the contract, but let's not be absurd here. It doesn't seem like that's something that's written into them.
Right. Must maintain acceptance of these forms of currency. I highly doubt that there is any fine print of that nature in there.
Yeah. So I'm going to go through some of these talking points. If you want to interject, just do it, because I'm just going to rattle through these because there's quite a bit to it.
Go for it.
The Russian national energy giant Gazprom announced Wednesday that it was cutting off natural gas exports to Poland and Bulgaria over the country's refusal to pay in rubles, seen as a way for Russia to prop up its unstable currency and to retaliate against its European neighbors for sanctions related to the Ukrainian invasion. Experts are saying it marks a new front in the war, using the continent's heavy reliance on Russian national gas as political leverage. But time the fuck out. Do we not do the same thing? Does the petrodollar mean nothing to Western media?
That it's hypocrisy. It really is, because who started this shit? Once again, okay, even when it comes to the sanctions and shit, that's Western influence. So,
oh yeah, and it's like, oh my god, dude, fucking, I am not looking forward to this summer's grain prices. Straight up. I mean, two of the leading exporters of wheat in the world are Ukraine and Russia.
Right.
I mean, let alone the energy crisis, which, I mean, we know that, like, Royal Dutch Shell, for example, or British Petroleum are, like, price gouging us.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, how many millions, rather, of barrels have we taken out of our strategic reserves to make the gas prices fall 20 cents?
Right.
After jumping $1?
Especially when we only even import about 3% of our imported oil from Russia. It's not making a huge dent in, what we're able to import, because for fuck's sake, the companies have probably already balanced that out with just buying some more from a couple other countries.
Right.
There is some shortage.
Well, I mean, honestly, though, it's working out well, it seems, for India and China, because now they can purchase gas cheaper.
Fair.
Which, I mean, is hilarious. Like, the rest of the world, all the places that are sanctioning Russia specifically are facing skyrocketing gas prices. But, like, the countries that are like, not my circus, not my monkeys, right? They're like, yeah, we'll pay in rubles, whatever. And now they're getting a massive discount compared to the rest of the world.
Mm-hmm.
You'd think they'd jump on that deal to pay in rubles,
right?
Which is weird that they wouldn't.
Right.
What this quote blackmail? I still can't believe they're calling it blackmail. Dude.
For that. Yeah, that's just a very strange term to be using for it.
Yeah. They're trying to make that emotional plea to the people, like, feel bad for us, we're being blackmailed. No, you're just being held accountable for your shit. You can pay in the proper currency or fuck off.
Yeah. So what this blackmail can mean for the continent and the world is that it could potentially accelerate the EU's transition away from Russia energy, which it started before the invasion, right? But 40% of the European Union's gas comes from Russia. If you're looking at specific countries like Germany, I think it's just shy of 70% of their gas comes from Russia. So they're trying to wean themselves off of Russian energy. And this isn't exactly new. The months leading up to the invasion was a lot of Europe being like, we need to get off of Russian gas. Why don't we just get off of gas?
Right.
A lot of European nations were heading in that direction. I'll tell you, during COVID, friends in the UK were complaining about it being about $5 a liter. Now, I don't know if you know what that translates to here, but that's outrageously expensive. Outrageously expensive.
Well, yeah, I mean that. Okay, so I know that a liter and a quart aren't exactly the same, but like
they're close,
relatively close. Yeah. So I mean, we're talking about like relatively $20 a gallon. Well, 20 euro a gallon, I guess it would. Well, no, because they're back on the pounds. Fucking British.
Let's see. 50 pounds is around $58. So 20 pounds would be around $22, $23.
It's $1.25. The British pound is $1.25. and a liter is about a little over a quarter gallon. So yeah, so we're talking about, 5 pounds per liter. That's, $15 a gallon. Or I'm sorry, $20 a gallon.
Is like
Cheap.
$25.
$24, $25. Yeah, $25 a gallon. That's outrageous. People don't drive anywhere anymore. And so they're trying to combat that. I mean, they've been ahead of us on other sources of energy for a long time, but that doesn't mean anything. They're still dependent on oil just like the rest of us. We've got to fix it. They've got to fix it. And I'm wondering who's going to lead the way on that.
Right. So this threat shows that Russia is prepared to penalize other larger European countries for failing to pay in rubles, even if that means Gazprom takes a financial hit. Here's my thing, though. I don't think that Gazprom is going to take the financial hit that they think it will. They're going to sell it in other markets for starters. Okay. And gas that Russia doesn't sell is gas that Russia can use. I don't know.
Yeah.
And of course, they're talking about energy prices rising as if that hasn't been happening anyway. Could rise across the world as the EU seeks fuel elsewhere. European countries that stop buying from Russia will have to buy somewhere else. Weird how that works. Which could lead to a shakeup in global energy markets, spiking prices. Because greed doesn't do that already?
Right.
Huh.
We're already seeing the greed come into play. There ain't even a shortage.
In every market.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As of now, with summer approaching, gas demand is lower, but prices will definitely spike in the winter. And I don't even think that I can really put into words how concerning that is alone. Europe uses a lot. They primarily use gas for heating.
Mm-hmm.
Or oil. Either way, it's petroleum products. I mean, I guess to an extent, so do we. But I mean, I live in Arizona. We do a lot of electric heating here because we don't have to rely on it for 6 months out of the year.
Right. Only at night during 2-3 months.
Right. If that, honestly.
Right.
European energy crunch could lead to a larger financial crisis. Man, okay, so energy is only a small part of that. We already talked about grain. We didn't talk about fertilizer, but fertilizer prices are fucking ridiculous. Because maybe a lot of people don't realize this, but a lot of our chemical-based fertilizers come from Russia.
Yep.
And a lot of our grain comes from Ukraine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, they just got back on their feet, too, from Stalin eating all their grain.
Shots fired.
All of it. Yeah, dude. You ever see it? Well, I know you have, Trisha, but you know the meme that I'm referencing in that, right?
I do. I saw it the other day. Yes.
Stalin's got a big old stogie, right? And it said Stalin smoking the joint that caused them to have the munchies, which caused them to eat all the grain in Ukraine.
Yep. The doobie that caused Holodomor. Fuck.
Yeah. Famine is funny.
All right.
Well, I mean, okay, so never mind. I'm not going down the historical Ukraine grain famine rabbit hole. I'm just not.
Listen,
I was gonna, but I'm not.
If you can rag on me for being a Trotskyite, I get to get a few shots in.
It is only fair.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, the farmers did choose to starve themselves. We can't leave that off the table. They chose to burn their own fucking harvest rather than sell it to the state. And it's like, oh, why would you do that? The profit's not big enough, so fuck it. Everybody gets to go hungry now, starting with ourselves. Huh? That's a hell of a hunger strike. It didn't work well.
Did you see that that minister who tried to do a hunger strike?
Mm-mm.
Oh, the one that died.
Yeah, he died. He went 30 days without food and died.
He was trying to like. He was trying to
Would've been
beat
a huge-
Jesus's record.
Oh,
Right.
God.
Can you imagine being a minister and wanting to beat Jesus's record? Okay,
The ego involved there, bro. For real.
this is God's avatar on earth. God, I'm gonna beat that son of a bitch.
Oh, man. It's like, okay, first of all, guy, it's a meat suit you're riding around in. If you don't put nutrients in it, it can't replace cells. When it can't replace cells, you die. It stops functioning. Can you drive your car with no gas and no oil and no tranny fluid? No,
Not for very long.
not for very long. Yeah, it's gonna blow up.
I just love the it just. Can you imagine the ego that you would have to say, I'm gonna beat Christ.
Right?
I got this.
Watch this. Oh, you think
I got
that was fucking cool? Watch this. See what I can do. Sorry, Stewie came out. Look at what I can do. Stop it, Stuart.
Oh my God.
You know,
So we're almost to the end of this one, but this fucking gets me, right. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen, I might have butchered that, I don't know, said, quote, "This is unjustified and unacceptable, and it shows once again the unreliability of Russia as a gas supplier." Time out. The unreliability of the country that has been supplying you gas for like 100 years.
Right. Like, they're totally reliable. It's you that wants to whine about not wanting to go to the bank and convert some money.
I like that they're like, well, you know what? They're completely unreliable. That's why we rely on them for 70% of our oil.
Right? So
That's
unreliable. They've only carried us for a fucking century.
That's
Yeah,
fucking
literally. I mean, when did the Soviets start drilling in Siberia? When were the pipelines into Europe built? It was like the 50s, right? It was like the Khrushchev era.
No, it was 2022. They just started kicking it. Just started that.
Oh, man.
Well, I mean, I know they were drilling in Siberia longer than that, but I mean, the pipeline was built in the Khrushchev era, right?
Right.
I mean, like, fuck,
Khrushchev,
dude.
yeah.
That's still like 75 years ago.
You know, it's just it's absurd to me, the whole logic. I just don't think they know, they hear themselves when they speak. You know, these guys are so unreliable. Then why are you buying from them? Like, why are you?
Why are
buying
you relying on them?
right?
Why are you salty? Because they told you that if you want to continue to rely on them, you need to go to the bank.
just go to the bank.
Right. It's really easy.
These guys fucked their entire country because they wouldn't do what I had to do when I went on vacation.
Right. Like, last time I checked, currency exchange is pretty fucking easy to handle.
So the Kremlin said the move was, quote, a necessary response to what it called unprecedented, unfriendly steps. I think that's putting it very professionally. Including a decision to freeze the Russian central bank's foreign currency reserves. And that's ultimately what this comes down to, right? The Kremlin says, quote, they blocked our accounts, or to put it in Russian, they stole a significant portion of our reserves,
Yes.
which we did. We absolutely did. Why would Russia, why would Gazprom more specifically, accept payment in a foreign currency if it's going to be seized before it ever gets put in the central bank account?
Right.
What's the whole reason why they're paying then that way?
Right. And
'Cause they know
I
these
mean,
people are gonna hack.
you know, since apparently we need an expert opinion on this, some Russia-based analysts are saying that taking payment in rubles is simply a way for Gazprom to protect its revenues from Western sanctions. Whoa.
Right.
We had to rely on the
It's
experts to figure that one out.
Right. It's like another moment of, can we remind you that you fucked around and now you're finding out? They're like, how dare you have accountability for my actions? Why should I suffer the repercussions of my actions? I only tried to fuck you with a sanction. You're not supposed to turn around and fuck me back with telling me that the only way to get gas from you now is to work around the sanction I put against you.
Yeah,
What?
dude, it's fucking unbelievable, right?
It's toddler logic.
Yeah.
Hey, so Scott, what are we looking at time-wise on this recording? Oh, well, we started recording before we started talking, didn't we?
We did. We've got some. Get a good portion here. I don't know. It won't tell me.
Oh.
Oh.
I do see
Isn't
that
that
it's almost 2 a.m. where you're at, though.
Yeah, I do see that, and I'm going to tell you guys, I don't do well on no sleep. So this is for you. This is 'cause I love you guys.
All right. Well, that's fine. We can wrap it up. I kind of feel like next week we should do an additional episode focusing on U.S. labor movement stuff, because there's been a lot, and it's been difficult to try to fit it into the current event streams because capitalism is collapsing for the fourth time in my lifetime. So there's kind of a lot to talk about.
Yeah.
This is my fourth once in a lifetime recession.
Right. It's like,
Well,
what happened to that once in a lifetime factor?
There's actually a book about it, about society's collapse happening on a cycle. I can't remember the name of the damn book at the moment, but my brain will come back to it, and I'll have it for the next show for you guys. I'll send it to you.
Right on.
It reminds me of the application of ecological boom and bust theory being applied to economics. Yeah.
I'm gonna send a link in this chat here for you guys if you want to God damn it, read along. But I got some pictures to show. Pictures. Pictures.
Ooh.
So people in Sri Lanka are calling for a general strike to pressure the president to step down. Business districts are closed, as you see. Fucking completely shuttered up. Completely. Look at all them bananas. Them bananas are free. There's nobody guarding them.
Monkey heaven over here.
So, I mean, obviously, you see the caption right here. The shortages of imported essentials like fuel, cooking gas, medicine, and milk have left people standing in lines for hours to buy limited stock. Weird. So it's almost like that's not a communism thing, right? Because that's what we like to say about the lines in Cuba, right? It has to do with economic crisis, which in the case of Cuba is inflicted entirely by the U.S. embargo. This is obviously a different situation. But the point is that it's not a cause of communism. It's a cause of economic distress.
Right.
Or
which we are definitely experiencing under capitalism right now.
Right.
Everywhere.
And yeah, that's what I was going to say. These pictures are just the beginning.
Capitalism. This is capitalism imploding on itself because it's not fucking sustainable.
But I mean, dude, everything's empty. They're calling for a general strike. Let me scroll back up here. Okay, so Let me rephrase. There aren't just people calling for a general strike. Hundreds of trade unions are calling for a general strike.
Right.
Schools and businesses were closed. Public-private transportation was interrupted. Banks partially shut in support of a one-day strike on Thursday, which came amid a growing economic and political crisis. Trade union activist, I'm going to butcher the hell out of this, I'm sorry, Wasantha Samarasinki, I probably butchered that, said this is one of the biggest general strikes launched by workers, with more than 1,000 trade unions supporting the action. Now, this is just a one-day general strike, but let's be real about it. That crippled the economy for a day.
Right.
Which, well, I guess I can't say it was today now because, you know, we're airing this tomorrow. Yeah. The general strike was held as thousands of people continue to protest opposite the president's office in the capital, Colombo, for the 20th consecutive day, asking him and his elder brother, Prime Minister, his brother? Oh my God, dude. The president and the prime minister are brothers.
Of course they are.
You fucking kidding me?
Oh, man. Big surprise.
Oh my God. Some of the protesters are also camped out at the premier's residence located 2 kilometers away from the president's office. Protests are also being held on a regular basis in towns across the Indian Ocean island nation. So actually, how I got turned on to this situation in Sri Lanka to begin with is Emily is still, you know, working in the lab at ASU, and there are actually the majority of the people in her lab currently are Sri Lankan. And this has been going on for, I mean, the general strike is a new development of that, but there's been mass action going on there for like 2 months now, to the point where the government has blocked out internet. The government has, you know, like broken up protests with tear gas, rubber bullets, supposedly live ammo in limited instances. Point is, this is not like something that just started today. This has been months in the making.
Right.
Right. Well, you know, nepotism always makes for a really great government.
Indeed.
What was the prime minister's name? Jared Kushner?
Mahinda Rajapaksa?
No. It's okay. Doing great, Rob.
Whatever that last name is, the president and the prime minister both have that last name.
It's like they're related.
Right. Sri Lanka is reeling under its worst economic crisis since independence from British rule in 1948. The shortages of dollars to purchase fuel, gas, and medicines have resulted in high inflation and long queues outside stores and fuel stations. The government has sought help from the IMF, the World Bank, Asian Development Bank, and countries like India and China. I would personally much rather see China step in to help them out, to be honest. China's loans come with infrastructure upgrades and extremely low interest rates. And, you know, they're not going to send in the military to make sure that their loan is repaid. The IMF will probably send in the U.S. military to make sure the loan is repaid. I don't know. Man, that's something else we haven't talked about in a while, too, actually. Remind me for next week's stream to look into seeing how China's Belt and Road investments in Cuba are going. It's been several months now. I would imagine things are starting to materialize on the ground.
It'd be interesting to see.
And that was basically in exchange for Cuban vaccines, if I understand correctly. Which is also interesting because doesn't China also have their own vaccines?
They might, but might not have had them as quickly as Cuba did. I don't know. I'd have to look at the timeline and see.
Well, shit, Cuba had them as quickly as we did.
Right.
Yeah, probably faster. And you know, you think about how many people are in China.
Right.
You know, no matter how good you are at getting that produced, that's a lot of people to cover. So
yeah,
getting
like
it
a
from-
billion and a half, and they've been giving aid through the pandemic to India as well, which is another country of like 1.5 billion people.
Right.
Actually, I think India might have a larger population than China now.
Does it? I didn't know that.
I know it's more dense. I don't remember if they have surpassed China yet.
You're more
India
dense.
population. New tab. China population. Okay. India's population is 1.369 or 1.36 billion people. China
1.4.
1.41 billion people. Yeah. So, okay, it's not quite there yet. But the density, though, 426 people per square kilometer, estimated 2011 in India. I thought, hold on.
Thanks, Norman Borlaug.
Wow. Point is that India is first in density, population density.
Right.
China is 83rd in population density. China, there we go, is 145 people per square kilometer. India is 426 people per square kilometer. That's wild. That was the last thing I had anyway. So now we just have our plugging stuff, you know, like.
You can find us on Facebook at For We Are Many Podcast, as well as on the Left Signal Boost TV. And we're on pretty much all of the social medias.
Yeah, most of the platforms will be For We Are Many Podcast or at For We Are Many Podcast. The exception is Twitter, at For We Are Many 2. Why? I don't know.
Twitter's just felt like popping a 2 on there.
Yeah.
Is that For We Are Many as well?
No, For We Are Many and the number.
The number
Number
2.
two.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, there was probably like a band called For We Are Many or something that was at For We Are Many. So it was like 2.
Yes. So, the second coming.
Nice.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so we are. Jesus Christ. Patreon. There we go. Discord. We are launching a Discord for our Patreon subscribers, our patrons, if you will. I don't know, dude. I'm tired too. I'm losing it. If you enjoy the things that we bring you, like this gold right now,
Great.
if you subscribe to our Patreon, you will get more of it.
Right. And a lot of it earlier than others. Pre-releases.
Yeah. Or, you know, like things where we'll publish the first half hour of a segment and put the rest for the Patreon subscribers, things like that. But I would like to encourage all of our patrons and all of our soon-to-be patrons, hopefully, to sign up for our Discord if you want to be a part of that. Just, you know, subscribe to our Patreon and hit us up. We'll shoot you the link. We'll get you in. For the rest of you, we will be opening the Discord up to the public. Well, most of it up to the public at some point in the future, but not today. Not today.
You're all polish and grace, Rob.
All right.
Are you making fun of me, Scott?
Not at all. Remember,
Where's
folks,
my
you
ice
can-
pick?
You can buy Rob's self-help book, Get Some Confidence, Stupid, at fine bookstores everywhere.
Yes.
Oh my God.
Oh, fuck.
Join us on May Day for an
Yeah.
episode about May Day. That's May 1st at 8 p.m. Eastern Time.
We're also doing some more crossovers with Bread Theory. Monday night, you can catch us there doing Howard Zinn's The People's History of the United States. And on Wednesday, we'll be doing Mao's Combating Liberalism. Let's join us for that.
Freedom on skins. And one is absolute freedom. And we're all looking for freedom. It's all
Didn't matter when they sold the devil guns. Didn't matter when they played us strike. Didn't matter when they stole your mother's son. Now everyone's out of their mind. That bullshit, these unemployment lines. Don't know the casualties and corporate crimes. To the color of a little one and no peace of mind. You live on the matter and the one who's falling better than your grandkids here to joy. When you watch them, their reaction to every little inconvenience soul. Still a public, xenomorphous, threat to the status quo.
reflections. We don't make mistakes. We have happy accidents. Just don't worry about it. Learn how to use what
Hell yes.
Goddamn liberals.